The SUNFISH clinical trial is a double-blind, placebo-controlled trial in children and young adults aged 2 to 25 with types 2 and 3 SMA. And this demonstrated improved SMN protein measurements in the blood, as well as 70% of patients demonstrating any degree of improvement in motor function from baseline. Nancy, what promise do you think this drug holds if FDA approved?
I think that this drug has an advantage in that it is orally administered. With the older patients with spinal muscular atrophy who are already symptomatic, one of the medical problems that is encountered over time in a significant number of patients is scoliosis. As many of us who've been involved in treating some of the spinal muscular atrophy patients who have scoliosis have discovered is that can make it more complex and require either video fluoroscopy or interventional radiology to assist with the intrathecal administration of the medication when intrathecal medication was the only option. Having an oral medication with a similar mechanism of action gives us an option that makes it much more simple, particularly for those people who have scoliosis and therefore a complex approach toward intrathecal medication. The other advantage to this medication is that it is systemically available because of the oral administration. We haven't talked much, but people have primarily thought about spinal muscular atrophy as being something that affects the anterior horn cells or the motor system. We realize when we look at individuals with severe spinal muscular atrophy or a long course of spinal muscular atrophy that many people can identify other sensory or autonomic involvement. One of the things that is frequently seen clinically, for example, is GI dysmotility. So beyond just usual constipation, almost like pseudo-obstruction degree of GI dysmotility as an example of the kind of autonomic problem you can have. And we don't know, but the question is whether systemic administration might be helpful at addressing those kind of symptoms that aren't just in the anterior horn cell, therefore accessed by the administration of the medication into the spinal fluid. So we haven't talked about this overtly, but I think with these medications, having options is very important. For example, it's a small fraction of newborns that have appeared to have any antibodies against the AAV9 viral vector that allows the unassembled gene abiparvovec to be administered. But there are some ongoing clinical trials, and it appears that to some limited extent, the number of individuals who have antibodies that would prevent use of that agent does increase to a small degree. And again, if you are the one person who might have those antibodies, it's a very important issue. Then you've got to rely on other treatments. And then nusinersen and risdiplam become more important because they are the ones that would be available to someone who was not able to be treated with the agent, the gene replacement because of antibodies preventing that.
So we've talked about the utility of Risdiplam with regard to infantile SMA and then some of our younger patient population. JEWELFISH is a study evaluating patients receiving Risdiplam age 6 months to 60 years old, so quite broad. Recent data presented demonstrated no drug-related safety findings leading to withdrawal, with data from 45 patients who received the medication for up to 29 months.